another reason I'm excited today, not only because Mr. Mathis is here, we all get to worship together, get equipped, get encouraged, and fellowship with each other, but my wife is actually going to speak in public. How about that? I can hear you. So she's going to take about 5 or 10 minutes. This is our part of the portion where it's called This Is Us. This is where you share your testimony about how you came to know the Lord, or what God is doing in your life. I never really want to tell people exactly what to say, but we usually give opportunity for about 5 minutes. So if you're ever interested in doing this and sharing, because you don't know the power of testimony.
Yes.
There's power in the testimony of sharing your story.
Amen.
So, love you, baby.
All right, I've been promising her for about 2 years that I would do this, and I kept postponing it over and over again. So when I was first thinking about it this week, the question was, who am I? That's a question I've struggled with my entire life. Obviously, first and foremost, panic with public speaking is definitely my thing. I'm a true introvert, most of you know that have been here any length of time. I go home after service and typically don't listen. And it's not that I don't like people, it's just who I am. Most of my life I struggled with low self-esteem, self-worth. At the age of 5, I already knew that I was different, but I tried to be normal, that quotes. To adjust for it, I remember very early learning to mimic other people, watching what other little girls did. You have little crushes, you write the guy's name, you did that over and over again. I would fill up notebooks, had posters all over the wall, so I became a mimic very early on. Throughout my life, I've suffered with clinical depression and suicidal thoughts. I used to use alcohol in life to try to hide who I was, or to be bold, to give me that extrovert personality, and also to run away from the orientation. I kind of went the other way, wild side. I've gone through issues with church, organized religion, been neglected, abandoned, rejected by church, religion. I was kicked out of my parents' home due to their religious stance on a lot of different issues where we disagree. So I was assaulted and robbed at a convenience store. I have been assaulted and arrested by the police due to my LGBT status. I became homeless for a while, lived a very solitary life. I was helped, though, a lot by the kindness of strangers. Sometimes somebody let me sleep in their car, sleep on their floor, let me borrow their shower. I broke probably a lot of rules and laws at the time in the name of survival. My ex-spouse left suddenly after 10 years of marriage, leaving me in a lot of debt. I shut others out, refused help, and tried to appear strong so that I wouldn't let myself be hurt. So this is a kind of a constant pattern of unworthiness, depression, suicidal bouts. And so when I was starting to think of all this stuff with the who's me, it's funny how a lot of times it's all the negative stuff that comes up first. What have I gone through? What have I this? What have I that? Even if you rose above, and there's still part of that. But then I started looking at what's the other side of that. It's a little harder to focus on that. I remember also at the age of 5 pledging to be honest, remembering the guilt of telling my first lie. I stood up for others when I was a child, the kids that were bullied. I've always been an advocate for equality. One time I consolidated debt for one of my co-workers so she could help her child care expenses, and because the banks wouldn't lend her money. I used my Christmas money one year and went out and bought some gift cards and gave them out to random strangers at Walmart and Kroger. I've opened my homes numerous times to help friends to get back on their feet and get adjusted after bad circumstances. At my last church, we would give anonymous cash gifts to people who didn't know where they came from. I bought a house for a friend who had a terminal illness. And I've always assisted other people with financial guidance and helping with them set up fundraising when I can't personally help myself. I did go back into school in my 30s to finish my degree, thankfully. I try to use my voice as often as I can, blogs and writings, to connect to people, uplift others. I have overcome abandonment and learned to love and marry again, fortunately, because I was able to meet my soulmate. I've overcome, or working to overcome, I should say, a lifelong disdain and hurt from the church to actually help start and run one. One that I would have thought would have helped me when I was younger. So kind of to sum it up, the key points that I'm still working on is to struggle to learn from my mistakes and to remember that others are just as complicated as I am. That we're not cookie cutters. That there's the sinner, there's the saint in all of us. I try to withhold judgment of others because many times I really needed that for myself. I try to practice grace and forgiveness until I'm a little bit more excellent at it, because that's still an issue. When I was trying to write this stuff down so it came out some way organized, the song popped into my head. Now, who's the judge, who's the sinner, and who's the saint? Who's the saint you can love and who you can't? Little 2 cents assorted lives there for anybody who's watched that movie. We all have similarities and differences. We're all God's children and equal in His eyes. He's constantly been with me through both stages, sinner and saint. No matter what stage I'm in, His love has been constant, His forgiveness immediate, and His strength steadfast. I am no one's role model, but I do want to create a safe place for others whose stories may be similar to mine, coming together to be what we needed to what I needed at that time and maybe didn't have. So we could all work together and create a better place for the next generation.
Yes.
That's it.
She did it!
The feel's gone.
I wouldn't say that.
When you preach it.
She preaches all the time.